Hi, I'm Mandy Ginder, and our school matters because our students matter and our teachers matter, and we try to make sure that we let everybody know that.
Hi, I'm Mr. Ryden, and this is Our School Matters, a podcast where we talk to students, staff, faculty, and administrators, and more from Richland County High School and Richland County District proper. So today, joining me for this intro, I have
Andrew Smith. I'm a sophomore.
excellent here at Richland County High School, and he had the privilege of being in the classroom of the teacher that I'm going to interview today. It's somebody who we had on last season, and my very good friend, Mrs. Mandy Ginder. She teaches Comp and Lit 2 and Comp and Lit 4. She teaches the drama class. She's done creative writing in the past. She's done a lot of different things. She is also the director for the high school theater program. I've worked with her quite a bit on those through the years. Andrew, what class have you had Miss Ginder in?
I've had Comp and Lit 2 with her.
And what is that? What is she like as a teacher? You got any highlights from the class?
Well, I realize why most people wouldn't like her, but it's not her and her personality or anything. It's just the class that she teaches. But personally, I really like her because I like English and I like.
Yeah. So it's not a very popular class, is what you're saying. It's
Right.
It's not her. People don't like to be stuck in an English class.
Right.
Sure.
Typically.
Yeah. So you told me that you guys would chat after class
Yeah.
quite a bit about literature.
Yeah, we tend to talk about all sorts of things. We've been talking quite a bit about Shakespeare lately because that's what.
Oh, so you're in her class right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Excellent. Well, Mrs. Ginder was nice enough to talk to me I even had planned on doing like a 20 minutes or half an hour, and I think we went almost a full hour, if not more. But it was great to have her back on, and I picked her as my first one for this time around, for the first proper of season 2, Our School Matters, because she is somebody who I find it easy to talk to, and I know her really well because we've been doing the musicals together so much, and we're next door neighbors in the school. So I thought she was a good choice to kind of get back into the groove for it. And we talk a little bit about what happened in the interim since last season in there. We talked a little bit about AI in an update. We talked about the drama program and some other stuff. So here is Mandy Ginder.
Hello. Maybe I'm just being quiet?
Yeah, but... Okay, now it's
That's
working.
fine. That's fine.
Okay, talk a little bit. Let's just see.
Hi, my name is Amanda Ginder, and
There
I'm
we
an
go.
English teacher at Richland County High School.
Oh,
I am known as
there
the
we
test
go.
dummy for this podcast.
That's right.
We
Excellent.
probably will never use this test dummy.
I said that the first time to relax you, and I wasn't even sure what we were going to do with it. So
And it turned out to be lovely.
And it did turn out to be lovely. It was a
great.
lovely conversation,
Yes.
actually. I really did enjoy it. Actually, jumping right into it, well, thank you for coming and joining me, Mandy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will add in a much more clever intro later, or at least less awkward. So thank you for talking to me. That really did help on that day, because it was the first interview I even tried, and it really was something that I was very nervous about starting because I'd put a ton of time into it and talked to a ton of people about it already. And so it was nice to have a friend to talk to, and it was nice that it worked. Like, I think both of us afterwards were like, that was really fun.
That was fun.
And
That was
actually
great.
seemed like we talked about some
Yeah.
meaningful stuff, and that gave me that boost of confidence I needed to go through. So welcome to season 2, folks. There's a couple changes on here I want to talk about today, and we're going to catch up a little bit. And because I'm starting out of season 2 and I'm trying to get my groove back, I invited my good friend Mandy Ginder to come on and chat with me a little bit. So before we get into our conversation, just a couple updates to this format. We're going to have a video component, as you can see right now if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook. Just to kind of get that, we have our studio sort of set up, even though you can see the raw wood behind me here a little bit. But we threw the studio together a little bit finally and have use of it. We also have going to have multiple students doing interviews instead of just one co-host that is going to come on regularly, and there'll be more about that as we get that first one. And then also we're thinking about a shorter runtime with more precise focusing questions, just so that not everyone is a sort of, this is your life as a teacher, tell me where you started, tell me where you are now, and all that other stuff. Not that that isn't interesting, and I'd love to do that more, especially with new teachers and teachers that are leaving. But I'd like to do some just easier to digest episodes that are pretty quick. I will say last season it ended abruptly. I did put the intended last show first, but I skipped a couple. It was actually during Steel Magnolias, of course, which I was working on a stage manager and kind of the sound manager, I guess, for that. Not the soundboard of mics, because I can't do that. And it was a disaster when we didn't have Warren there that night. But I was doing a lot of work on this sound effects program, and I started getting migraines every day. And I thought it was just that show and that stress, and that went on for months and months. And I eventually just kind of dropped a lot of projects that I was working on for a while. Got a CAT scan, I think it was, one of those scans.
And it was there?
And it was still there, and I have proof of it as a very cool little animated kind of thing that I can pull up, and it shows all in there. But that was the scary part, and ended up being nothing that couldn't be taken care of overall. So happy to be out of that. It was every day.
Yeah, it was a scary time.
It was.
And you got to focus on yourself.
I feel like, oh my God, is my mic out now?
You can't pour into someone else's cup if your cup is empty.
My mic's out, Mandy.
You mean I did all that smiling and nodding for nothing?
Text. Text.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is, we're under. Gosh dang it, I do have my volume down pretty well there. Well, off to a great start in season 2, but yeah, it was a frightening time, because it was like, is this every day now? And I would get headaches throughout the day, and I'd have my hand over my eye, my right eye, and that would kind of help.
Sit in
but
the dark and wear sunglasses at night. And
wear sunglasses during class.
Yeah, it was scary.
It feels like it was so long ago, and it
does feel like it was long ago. It's been a long year.
I mean, I'm sure you've had things like this too, where I know a few instances where you've had a big scare or something like that, like a medical scare or something that envelops your entire world, and then it just goes away, and it's like, never mind, you're okay.
Yeah.
And I start to feel weird about even having it had happened or complaining about it before or bringing it up. It's like, yeah, it was a really big deal, but I'm fine today. I'm going to go hang out.
Everything's fine. Whatever, moving on.
Play some Switch and listen to some podcasts when I get home. Normal day, you know. But so anyway, we're back for season 2 now, and that's we're hoping nothing like that comes up. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. So, Mandy, we had a couple agenda items just to discuss a little bit to get started. We've had a year since our conversation, a year and a couple months. It was shortly into second semester, I think. We've had several conversations about this, but I believe one thing we talked about a little bit was AI. We also, last time, we got into some pretty heavy stuff, which was great. But maybe we'll just stick with fun stuff this time.
Let's not say, so what are you going to do when you're old and almost dead?
Yes. And what do you think about the many dangers of the classroom? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, what are your thoughts kind of on AI now that we, both of us have spent more time with it? We would have seen it in our classroom more. It just kind of appeared not too long before the last one. What are your thoughts so far about how are you seeing it as a classroom force right now?
Well, I definitely, when we first started talking about it, it was a little bit like, oh, the sky's falling and this is the worst thing that's ever happened. And I was like, I'm never going to use that AI stuff. I hate it. And it's the worst thing that's ever happened. And nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. And turns out it's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's not indetectable. Like someone did turn in an essay to me, and I read the first 4.5 words, and I was like, "So,
not you.
You wrote this using ChatGPT, didn't you?" And he was like, "Why would you say that?" So I'm like, "Okay, define this word." Okay, say this word.
Yeah, right. That's it.
It was pretty easy to see. And so
a lot of the old copy paste like safeguards
still the same. A lot of the tools that we have as teachers to use to make sure they're not plagiarizing it from other places. It picks up on this as well, you know, but it's the old test of, I've had a conversation with you and you would never say these things. They worked pretty well. On the other hand, I've used it a couple times.
I was going to ask you how you've actually started using it.
I've used it to write letters of recommendation, make them look nice and lengthy, and I think anyone who reads that that actually
That
knows
knows
me,
you, yeah.
that'll be like, yeah, that's not you, is it? On the other hand, I've
Yeah.
got my own kind of flowery speech for
Yeah.
letters of recommendation anyway. I wrote one for you.
I was gonna say you
I
wrote
wrote
one
a letter
me.
for you. I did a dramatic reading of
You
it today in
did?
drama.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, that must have been
because we were talking
interesting.
about AI
Yeah.
and
That one
ChatGPT.
was over the top.
It was so silly. It was like the exceptional quality of his professionalism
Yeah.
is not to be.
And I
So
was
silly.
like,
Yeah,
that's me.
Perfect. So
These AIs are getting smarter and smarter.
yeah. So it's just not quite as, just like most things, it's just not quite as scary as we thought it might
Yeah.
be. And as we continue to work with it, it might even be kind of cool.
Yeah, it might be kind of helpful ultimately. I'm sure there's been a few assignments that have gotten by both of
I'm
us
sure.
at different times. What I'm seeing mostly right now is, but I only have freshmen too. I don't have seniors, which I'd probably see a few more essays that were just straight up AI. But, a
I
lot
teach seniors right now,
Mhm.
and it wasn't a senior who
Mhm.
turned in an AI
Yeah.
essay. And I'm not to say that I would know for sure.
Right.
Maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got one by me. I don't know. But
Well, and, yeah,
my papers are fairly specific. I want you to say this in this paragraph. I want you to talk about this in this paragraph.
Yeah.
I don't say turn in an essay about F. Scott Fitzgerald on
Mhm.
my desk in 2 days.
yeah,
I say, I want you to talk about this.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about this. I want you to use these sites. I want you to cite it in this way. And so to put all the effort into making AI create that
hmm
would be more effort than just doing it.
Yeah.
So I would say they probably have been like, yeah, this is just a pain. I don't need to do this.
I do a lot of novel assigning too, just also because you get more interesting papers if
Mhm.
you can create the parameters and it's not just write me about an essay about like Romeo and Juliet or
Yeah.
whatever, and instead it'll be more specific about like reviewing two versions of a product that you're thinking about actually purchasing right now, but doing a compare and contrast essay style.
Yeah.
And there, an essay, you could put in that rubric. I mean, I've been able to put in rubrics like that and get it to just shoot out a really middling essay that's
Mhm.
clearly not written by a person, just partly because there's no like soul to it. And I don't mean this some stuck up writerly way, but there literally just is something missing from that. Now, will it be like that forever? I doubt
Yeah,
it.
I don't
It's going to get
know.
better and better. But I think the other thing is though too, like I try to push my students to let me know, like, how are you using this if you feel like you're using it the right way. So I want to know that middle point where it's going to be, yes, I can see they've used it, but they've used it like in a way that improves their writing and improves their understanding of how they're
Mhm.
writing and stuff like that. And that's definitely something that's going to take a little while to figure
Yeah.
out. So
I don't think it's the end of the world,
Mhm.
probably. I mean, I don't think that suddenly there's going to be robots in front of the classroom teaching, and then we're all just going to be sitting on street corners.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. I
Yeah.
think it'll be okay. I've only got, like 15 years left. So
Yeah.
if I can survive,
You can make it through there.
if I can survive to not be a robot teacher
Then
in
you'll be
15 years,
taken
then
care of by a
yeah.
handsome robot that
right,
will
it'll be fine.
say nice
It-
things to you all the time.
It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm always curious to see about the future. There's very real things to talk about its effect on art and how they're just scraping all that information and misusing things and how they're like the carbon footprint is atrocious. But nothing's gonna be
the AI that you can put, like, make a photo of. And
Yeah.
I did this at Christmas. There was this
Yeah.
thing going around, like a little blonde boy, age 11, and a little brown haired girl, age 8, in Christmas sweaters with a dog that has short,
Yeah.
to make a
Uh-huh.
Christmas photo of your own kids. And
Oh,
the
okay.
pictures
I
it
missed
comes
that
up
one.
with are so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And just some of the stuff, it's like, okay. I worked at a photography studio
Yeah.
when I was young,
hmm
way back when, and when I was in high school
Spieth.
and college. Yes, Spieth Photography, and I loved it there. It was
Mhm.
great. And we'd always laugh about like some of the Photoshop stuff that we were doing because it was very early Photoshop stuff. And like, it's no longer will you be able to look at pictures of your grandpa and your grandma together on their wedding day and really believe that that's true, because we could like cut around
yeah.
grandma and grandpa and
Oh,
put them
and
in, and it didn't look anything like a normal
Forever,
photo.
too, though.
And it was forever, and
Yeah.
it was, but we were doing it, and we're like,
Yeah.
this is the future.
Yeah.
And then somebody come in and say, oh, I've got this picture of my grandparents, but there's this cow in front of my
Mhm.
grandpa's head. Can you remove the cow so I can see
Yeah.
what grandpa looked like? And like, No,
No,
that's
that
not
doesn't work. It's not there.
you know, but it's almost like
But if
this
you have
is
half
the
his face or another picture, now you
yeah,
really could.
this is the
do
new
that.
frontier of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
of look, can you take the cow out so I can see my
Yeah.
grandpa? And so this is what the AI photos look like
Yeah.
now, and it's hysterical.
Uh-huh.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
fun, but
There
it's
are really
also
fun ones.
it is like, will we ever be able to look at photos again
No.
and believe that
No.
was
That,
that's not proof
and
anymore?
this isn't going away. Video too.
There's no photographic
audio,
evidence.
We're gonna really have to question it.
Miss
like,
Baltzell and I spent
forever.
a significant amount of time looking for the missing Princess Kate because,
Yeah.
that's just a rabbit hole that I went down.
Yeah,
And so I was like, I
know,
need help and
remember.
I
Yeah.
need you to come with me because
Yeah.
I just am bored with my life and I
Yeah.
want to find the missing princess. And it's like, she puts out this picture and I was like, oh, well, she's fine. And then they're like, no, it's AI. I'm like, oh, no, it's AI. I'll never know anything's true ever again.
Even this video that came out of her
Yes.
saying what was going on.
And
with her
she's like,
medically.
everything is fine. And
Yeah.
we're like, but is it
Yeah.
fine?
And then she goes, bleep, blur.
Yeah.
01110.
And so, yeah, that's the part that's really weird to
Yeah.
me is that my children's
Yeah.
children's children will never
Mhm.
be able to look at a photo of me and think that's what grandma looked like.
Yeah.
Because I had a Snapchat filter that made me look young. They'll never
Even that
know
far
who I
back,
really
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
It is, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
hadn't
that's
really
next
looked at it
generation's
through
problem.
that lens. That's true, yeah. But I mean, I've definitely been concerned about the proliferation of political fake news and
Mhm.
and just slandering people in general. That was one thing a few students brought up talking to him in the podcast or in classes the last year, was the concern that someone would use it vindictively against them or a friend
Yeah.
and make up that they did something horrible or did something that they would be embarrassed by. And I mean, it's a real concern.
Well, God, that's
There-
a downer. I was just looking
Yeah,
for a
I
missing
know.
princess.
I'm
I thought we were going to keep it light today.
Yeah, I brought it. You're right. Yeah, I did bring this up as this girl that somebody had like AI'd a picture of her and that was inappropriate. She was a TikTok girl or something like that, like pretty famous, and they showed video of her reaction seeing it, and it was like just watching her reaction. I'd be like, yeah, that would be a dark moment. It would be so violating.
That is scary
Yeah.
that could be, it doesn't seem like we're totally there yet.
Not at least
Because-
for mass production.
Yeah, because it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. But at the same time, I'm so gullible. Like,
Mhm.
I saw this photo of Princess Kate.
I think I am
And
at
she was
first too.
walking through
always
this
have to
and
read
I was
it.
like, oh my gosh, there she is at the market.
Uh-huh.
And then within 5 seconds the internet's
Yeah.
like, this is Christmas, there's a Christmas tree right there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't say that. Like, oh, she's wearing the same exact clothes as she is in
Yeah.
here and her hair is exactly like, oh, I didn't know that. So I'm so
Yeah.
gullible and
A
I
lot of people
consider
are
myself
knee-jerk. Like I know, and I hope there's a lot of other people. It's not everybody, and everybody's not this gullible or screwed with AI. But
right.
it always takes me a minute to turn on my critical eye
Yeah.
and to be like, hold on. Wait, what is this actually saying? What's the context of this?
Right.
I always just like I'm a really big idiot sometimes when it
But-
comes to somebody says something straight out, and my first thought is like, just take it as truth.
Yeah.
And then I take some time.
But
to think.
so often I'm just like, oh yeah, really? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just go for it.
Yeah.
And so
It's our
many people,
nature.
God, the
We're in
internet's
danger.
so full of people who just want to believe the worst about everything and then run with it,
Mhm.
And I don't believe the worst about everything, but I
Yeah.
am so easily influenced by it. We're
Yeah.
going to have to really think about it as a human race. Like, stop,
Mhm.
think, proceed,
Yeah.
And I don't know if
I was very
world's ready for
concerned at
that.
first about its effect on just creativity and thought, and now one of my top issues is more that sort of people weaponizing it and using it as a fake news element and stuff like that. On a lighter note, what I do like to do with AI or with those images is it's really my worksheets. I do a lot of my own, as we've talked about this before. I do a lot of reinventing the wheel, or like I'll have a new idea. But then I come up with something. I'm like, this needs a good photo, and now that I can generate stuff with
Yeah,
that,
that's
I have a
fun.
lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
Like it just
That's a
feels
good
more,
way to use
it. feels
it.
more, kind of unique and branded for
Yeah.
the occasion of this
I
assignment.
did one of those stupid, like AI generated me
Mhm.
throughout history.
Oh yeah.
I can see you doing that, putting like a picture of you in the Romeo and Juliet time period on there.
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely.
Mr. Ryden throughout history.
Yeah, I'm already thinking in the back of my head right
And
now.
I was like, yeah, that's
What can I do
exactly
with
what I
that?
looked like in the 80s. Actually, no, I would just look like a kid in a striped sweater, like everybody else.
Yeah, I was a big dork.
Yeah, just like now, just littler.
With a really bad haircut.
Yeah, oh, the worst. I had that, I think my mom calls it the Dorothy Hamill haircut,
Yeah,
like little.
Me too. No, I had a very distinct thing, especially once I had a single dad to take care of me. He tried so hard.
Yeah, well,
Some things you just can't do. Some voids you can't fill. But oh boy, totally spaced there too.
In other news,
there's definitely the kind of fun aspect to it. Gosh dang it! Oh no, I know what I was going to. Sorry. See, this is the first time I started blammering and spasming, and I did use the AI, which is a pretty easy one to use, but the it's called history something. It's the one that living photo thing.
Yeah.
And I used that for the musical
so cool.
for Adam's Family.
Oh my
and
gosh!
I put a bunch of,
gotta tell you. That made me a little emotional. Like seeing, it was so stupid.
Yeah,
I mean, they were like,
it's silly because but it's silly.
But the pictures of Gus and Mary, I'm just like, oh my God, they're here.
I know.
And we know that already because the place is haunted.
Yeah,
but,
true. They came over with the portraits.
Yeah, and so I videotaped that and I sent that to a grandchild that I'm in, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's
great. I didn't know that.
So cool.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, like they're totally cool people, and I've been in contact with them throughout the just the different things we've done with Sleva, and they're like, oh my God.
Can you ask them to stop messing with
cool.
our life as spirits?
In other news, your grandparents are kind of a pain in the ass. Of course, we don't mean that. Please do not. We love the Slevas.
For context, we did Adams Jr., Adams Young at Part, with the middle school kids. And over the portrait, I put some laptops in there with the animated faces of the Slevas. I was worried about it at first. We talked about it a little bit because my first thought was like, are people? Because of course people always get outraged about stuff.
I'm sure there'd be. That's blasphemous.
Yeah,
whatever.
And I was just like at first like, what? What if somebody thinks like, yeah, it's blasphemous, or this is like, how could you ridicule them? And because people still hold them in high regard,
of course,
for good
as
reasons.
do we.
Yes, do we?
But listen, if they were musical directors,
yes, that's what I finally came to.
They would think that was cool.
Anybody that is part of
anyone
musical
who's done
program,
that,
I would be thrilled.
They would
I would be thrilled
so
if
cool.
someone animated my face.
Imagine
years and years after my death
40
in that theater.
years,
I'd love
and
it.
we're showing up somewhere in a show.
Yeah.
And
love it.
in the
AI
great
make me
beyond,
dance
we're going to
like a
be like,
weirdo.
we've made it.
Absolutely. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, they would love it. And
it came out really well. I was happy with it. And making Amy Rusk and Sherry Gray into the two-headed woman who was, what was it? Shamey Grusk.
Yeah.
Shamey Grusk. Yeah. And the two random teachers from the middle school the kids chose, and I just like, this one's married to this side, and this one's married to this side. That was a blast. But on that topic, we went through SpongeBob this year, which was the high school production.
Yeah, we survived it.
What are your thoughts now about it? Like, what? I guess, how do you feel like we improved on it from the last year? That's always our goal. Is better than the last year.
Better than last year. SpongeBob was a beast.
It was.
I mean, I like to call it Props, the musical, featuring SpongeBob. Because it was just
There's a lot of that.
One thing after another. One thing after another. How are we going to make this happen?
Yeah.
How are we going to make this happen? How are we going to make this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And we just did it, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was.
I really felt like every year I feel like our team just kind of like comes to a musical problem, and I call it a problem because it's like, how are we gonna?
I just did too.
How are we gonna?
We're solving things.
This is what we need to do. How are we gonna get it done? Yeah.
We got a problem. We got to solve.
How are we gonna do this? And I am constantly impressed, and just my heart is warmed, and it's like the Grinch's heart grew two sides because our team just comes together in ways that, like, we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
And there were times I was like, I have no idea how to do this, but I was never afraid because we always and we filled the spaces,
Mhm.
and there's ways, and this year I really felt like, this is the Ryden show again, but the year I really felt like you became this larger than life part of our group. This, like, I hang out in the back and I, tell the kids jokes on the headset and whatever,
Mhm.
and but really just filled the space with all of these wonderful stage improvements, and really didn't do your job at all because you had
Mhm.
students who could,
Which
which
was
was
amazing to have that
amazing.
opportunity. Yeah.
But
Shout out to Sydney and Dakota, who were
yeah,
seniors.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, we could not fail them in their classes and keep them
I'm
a
working
9,
on it.
but
I'm trying. I don't know. Can you
I
not
think they got
graduate if you
all
don't
their,
pass drama? I don't
no,
know.
I think so. I think they'll
Anyway.
be fine.
But
Unfortunately.
but it gave you the opportunity
I had more room
to,
to move
yeah,
on props
room
and
to work.
stage.
And so, like, how we are going to become this, like, this bigger team, but within our small group. And I mean, I feel like they should write books about us because the three of us just work so well
Yeah.
together. We're all so different.
Yeah, we
but
very
we
much are very different
we
people.
all fill the spaces that we need, and
Uh-huh.
those spaces change.
Yeah.
And, like, I need to be a bigger part of this,
Mhm.
and so you two can kind of move into this spot,
Mhm.
and then you guys are really taking care of things, so
Yeah.
I can move back and create this spot for myself. And we're
I think
rock
that's
stars in that
the
regard.
Little Better every year is discovering, like with props and building. Like part of it was I knew that we were losing Brian
Oh,
Cummins,
God.
who's retiring this year, who is our construction guy, and he's done so much for us. And my thought was like, it's hard to find somebody that's like, okay, and I want to start working with the foam board and stuff. But it is that, like, everybody, like Warren is always trying to expand into out more in that role
Mhm.
that he does, that when it comes to just the sound in general and not just directing
The kids musically,
he's really got, and just really, dealing with the audio system and without, a team to help him on that. And so, and you're always bringing in more groups and stuff like that to us, and getting our, the younger kids
Yeah.
involved and stuff like that, and also just managing all that other stuff. So yeah, I think that is part of that. Making it better every year is we're grabbing it, like, okay, making better part of that is like a new thing.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna grab this new thing. But I was thinking about it just the other day, and I realized, like, I don't think I'm wrong here at all. I think I just plainly say we have no ego issue between
No.
the three of us. There's nobody that is just like, this is going to be I'm not going to hear anyone else out on this. This is what we're going to do. And there's nobody that's like, you people would be lost without me. Because in
Right.
reality, I think all three of us could make that
Yeah,
argument.
100%.
At least
I
right
really
now.
don't feel like we do that at all. Like, there are
No.
times that I need to be the one making the decisions,
Mhm.
and I make them,
Yeah.
and that's my job.
Yeah.
And then there are times that you make them or Warren
Mhm.
makes them, and I don't
We're kind of in our own
ever.
lanes too. It's because
Yeah.
we don't overlap. I mean, I do not know what I'm doing with the music. I don't know. So I don't ever butt in on it.
Yeah.
I might have some like creative ideas for how they should walk and pass or stuff, but God, when you're doing a whole show, it's like, oh, you've got an idea for this scene right here? Please
Yeah, help
do
out.
it.
Well, but we do have our own lanes, but
Mhm.
I think we're all also willing to
Yeah,
say,
that's true.
"Hey, I've got
The
this
ego
idea,"
isn't there of,
and
like,
if
no,
I
I already know what I'm
said,
doing.
"Yeah," if I said to Warren, "Hey, I had this idea about this song.
Mhm.
What if we did this?"
Yeah.
He would be like, "Okay, let's see if we
Yeah.
can make it work." I mean, he would 100% do that. And if
Mhm.
he is thinking, "Hey, the blocking on this is just really not working because this is what they need to be doing.
Oh yeah,
What
he'll
if we
say it
tried
too,
this?"
and he won't
And I'm like, "Yeah,
be shy about
sounds
it. And it's
great,"
like,
you know?
I can reassess my mind and
Yeah.
make it work, because
I don't want to toot
I
our
think
own
that's one of the
horns,
biggest
doo-doo,
things.
but
Yeah,
I
it's what makes it so much fun to do, because it's stressful. Like I
oh,
am
yeah,
always
it's a lot of work.
so anxious by the time we get to the end of it. I'm always so like done in a way, but at the same time, if it wasn't fun at the core of it, I
Right.
couldn't do this.
And
There's no way.
valuable.
It's so, yeah.
I read something on the internet the other day that some random thing that is like, when certain kids are excited about something, they
Mhm.
come to the music department, and I feel like we're part of that sort
Mhm.
of.
Yeah, I do too.
When they're sad, they go to the music department.
Mhm.
When they need to be heard, they go to the music department. That's where their people are.
Mhm.
That's where their life is.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my program and
Yeah.
our program. I
Mhm.
want to be the soft space that these kids can
Mhm.
create and be sad
Yeah.
and be happy and be and just exist.
Mhm.
And I want to create that for them so that when they look back, that's something that they feel
Yeah.
good about and that they feel like, yeah,
Mhm.
remember those days when we could just go down to the theater and everything was fine.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for them. And
I-
it's for me too. If
I
I'm
see
having
that.
a
Yeah,
super
yeah.
stressful day
Yeah.
and I'm ready to just walk out,
Yeah.
I will go into an empty theater and just be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Some of the best days of my life are in that theater, and
Yeah.
some of the best days to come in my life are in that theater for
Right.
sure. And if you can't be emotionally, I mean, just from a practical standpoint, if you can't find an emotionally comfortable place, you can't perform.
Mhm.
Like you can't go out there and pretend to be sad or happy or in
Right.
love or all that kind of stuff. And it's all obviously tied in to what we do in that. And I know it's just so what we link to. I mean, you could definitely have somebody who is like a football coach.
Yeah,
and
who just wants to go sit in the stadium.
And that also that could just say like, well, I feel like it's that for us too, and it probably is.
Yeah.
It probably is. It's just
It's awesome. I
it's
hope
where
you
our
have
heart
that.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm teaching Drama 101 and Drama 101
Oh,
performance.
and Plug the Play, which
Yes,
is coming up soon.
we're getting ready to do 30 Reasons Not to Be in a Play, which is, it's a great show.
Yeah.
It's just silly. It's all funny.
Enormous cast with
Enormous.
enormous number of characters.
Yes,
with
like
a smaller
147,
Yeah.
and there's 30 kids
which
in there.
the kids complained about for weeks.
Yeah, and then it
weeks.
was fine.
They just kept coming to me like, I think we should talk to Ms. Ginder.
She's
and
crazy.
We should tell
The
her. I
woman's
don't think we
insane.
can do it. There's so many. It's like I even
Yeah,
took a look. I was
oh my
like, that's they're vignettes. Like it's okay.
Yeah, you're fine. They do that to me all the time.
They always.
Mr. Ryden, I think Mrs.
Rub
Ginder's
the
lost her
kids.
mind. I need you to intervene. And then it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. But it's hard for me because it is student led.
Yeah, this
And
one is.
so,
You gotta let go
the
of
Drama
reins.
101. And so everything is student directed. I do get to be in it this year. I think you are too.
I am.
I
yeah.
am.
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to
So
yell
it's
at a
exciting.
kid, so
No.
don't have to reach very far for that
Typecasting.
role.
They put me in a role because the character's name was Mandy, and they thought it was funny. So
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
I thought it was funny. It's the perfect description for the high school mindset about
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
Yeah.
You know it when you're around it all the time.
Yeah, and so are the Drama 101 plays like classical performance? No, they're silly. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they're some of the most memorable and heartwarming
Mhm.
moments for me because the kids that are in Drama 101 are 90% drama kids.
Yeah.
And then there's some others that like needed a place to be, like
Mhm.
they just needed a class, or their friends were in it, or they heard that we have birthday parties once a month with snacks, and they're not academics
Yeah.
all the time. Sometimes they are, sometimes
Oh, there's
they're
some
not.
very bright kids in there, but it's
Yeah.
not like
It's-
that kind of course.
And
yeah.
sometimes there are kids that are in Drama 101 that are not doing the homework and not doing it in a very good grade,
Mhm.
but they get up on stage and they're some of the best
Yeah.
performers I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. Wait until you see this play. It will knock you over when you see some of those kids doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
I haven't seen any of it because I don't have prep this time. for
They
4th
are
block, so I haven't seen any of
amazing.
it yet.
I mean, there's some drama kids, but then there's some regular
Yeah.
kids, and they are
They're
awesome. And I'm just like,
alive.
drama's so cool.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. And then I watch those kids and I'm like, God, it's a
Yeah.
cool job. You know?
Every musical, every play, it's just like
It's
by
a
the
cool
end, I'm just
job. God.
like I'm shaking apart by the end, like an old car that's just about to fall to
Yeah,
pieces.
it's
And I'm
exactly
like,
what it
God,
feels
why do
like.
I do this? But it's so much fun, and the performance is awesome. And then I'm like, yeah, let's start this again.
Part of that is you're exhausted and
Yeah.
you're just
You get
there's
the
so
elation
many
of that
things.
performance, though, too,
And then it
it's-
goes
oh,
well,
it's so
and then
good.
the kids are up there and they're
all so
clapping,
happy.
and you just like, you just die. You
Yeah,
just like,
it's-
you just fall
Yeah.
apart. And it is super emotional because it's such a letdown of all that, like, that's been pent up for so long. And then you're so proud of them and you can't believe what they have been able to do. And it's just like, God, what a cool life.
So what are we going to try and what are we predicting that we're going to work on improving for next year? We don't know what we're doing yet, and we definitely haven't released. We've mentioned to kids some of those were thought about, but where's the next things we need to improve?
I love it when they're like, I know what Mrs. Ginder picked for the
Oh,
musical.
God.
And I'm
My
like,
kids saw Charlie
cool.
Charlie and the Chaplain, I almost said. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory spec script or whatever, sitting on my desk, and it's like, I think it was in Molly. And she was like, oh, Mr. Ryden, you have something to say? I was like, I'm going to have scripts in here, you know?
I'm like, cool, can you tell me? Because I haven't picked one yet, and I
Yeah.
have no idea what to do.
Yep.
And they're like, I know what
I
she
don't.
picked.
I know the
and
ones some of the ones we're talking
Yeah.
about, and it's like,
I don't know. And
it's
what
up
are
in
we
the
going to
air.
work on? I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on what we choose. It depends on the
Mhm.
kids that show
Yeah.
up. I would really love to do a huge show
hmm
with tons of kids and really work on our ensemble stuff.
Mhm.
Like really get into it with them and help them learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But if I say that's what we're going to do, then next year we'll have like 14.
Yeah. They'll
And
come
I'll be
out
like,
for it.
oh, there's no ensemble.
Can't do that one,
It's
yeah.
an everybody show.
Yeah, it's
So
hard to
then,
plan for that
you
one.
know, maybe
Yeah.
I want to pick a small show and just
Yeah.
really work on character work. You know, maybe we want to do a show for kids where
Mhm.
everybody in town wants to come.
Mhm.
Maybe we want to do a classic. Maybe
Mhm.
we want to do like, what's the one where they're all on the boat? No.
HMS Pinafore.
Yeah, God,
That's
what's
too
that?
old.
I don't know. Maybe we want to go
Yes,
back
yes.
and do that one that was about Bye Bye Birdie. Maybe we want to do
Oh,
Bye
yeah.
Bye Birdie. You know, maybe we want to.
Yeah.
Is there a place for Grease in 2024? Can you say and do those things
I
without
know,
getting
that's a
fired?
tough one.
You know, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So until I have a show and the kids and the problems in front of me, I don't know what the solutions are going to be. But I do know that whether it's bigger or smaller or more refined, it's going to be better
Mhm.
because we learn every single year. And those kids learn every single year. But you know what? Then those kids learn, and then they fly.
Mhm.
And we say,
That is the thing that
Bye.
they're always. We only got them for 4 years.
and then they're gone. And then we've got these kids that haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
And so we're learning.
And it's not an even waves either. It goes
No.
from like it might be
It's
every year you're getting in really talented.
It's
like
a big
new ones
wave
are-
this year.
It is the ones
So,
going out.
You know, they
like
say it in sports, it's going to be a rebuilding year.
like
but
one or two seniors this year in crew. One senior this year in crew, maybe two.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's not. I still
Tough.
have the advantage I've had before of that.
So whatever we do and
Yeah.
whoever we have, we're going to create a family and a
Mhm.
moment, and then it's going to be gone, and then we're going to have to start over,
And we'll do it again.
and we'll be smarter.
be better.
We'll be smarter,
Yeah.
at least.
But older
you know.
and more tired.
But older and more tired. So you know, yeah. But it'll be great. Whatever it is, it's going to be awesome.
So we had my brisk change of topics. I literally went through my head. I could say, speaking of family, and I was like, I just can't do it. Maybe I can pull it off eventually, but not yet. Speaking of solar eclipses, I just wanted to wrap up with your memories on it because it was a pivotal, not pivotal, but definitely a memorable moment.
Yeah.
That happened. So this was last Monday, just a few days ago from when this recording is. I know I had a very leading up to it. I was like, okay, Jeff, you need to take this experience in and not, let yourself, not the ennui slip in, not the boredom, and just let it happen and actually remember it because it's, it is interesting. And I knew I'd like it, but I was just like, I don't want to make sure that I'm not in a state of mind where I'm overlooking the majesty of it and also just being like, okay, it is cool.
Yeah, cool.
But the moment it hit, it really was different. Like I pulled up my glasses, because it just disappears at that point in the things. And I looked at it and it was just like, oh, yeah, this is powerful.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like?
I was kind of in the same place.
Mhm.
Maybe all adults feel like this. I
Maybe.
don't know. I don't know what it feels like to be an adult, but well, first of all, I had
Hurts.
anxiety. I had anxiety about the traffic. I had anxiety about
Of
all the
course you
people.
did.
I have anxiety about everything.
Did you guys go in town at all, or
No.
you just stay at home all day
No.
and you still?
No, we stayed. We didn't cross the highway because I was afraid that there were going to be people. Then we wouldn't even be
There
able
were
to
at a point,
cross the
yeah.
highway, and I was afraid. My mom, God love her, she's like, I said, well, I'll have a cookout. I'll invite everybody out and it'll be fun. She's like, I'm not doing that. There's going to be people looting and there's going to be
Oh,
people.
geez.
And I'm like, okay, you're right. Oh my
No.
God, I shouldn't
I'm
leave my house.
I'm getting a root of a lot of this anxiety.
Oh, it was just one of those things. And so I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about
Yeah.
this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried. So, and then I got to a point with Chris, my husband, I was like,
Yeah.
I just want it to be over. Like,
Yeah.
I just got all this, like, buildup of all this stuff. Like, I just can't wait till it's done so I know that
Yeah.
it's okay and it's over
Yeah.
and I'm just over it. I'm just done. And then the night before, we did end up going to
Mhm.
Berryville Vineyards because we didn't have to cross the highway. And we figured there wouldn't
Oh,
be,
okay. Yeah.
like, a big rush of people
Right.
on Berryville Lane. So I didn't know, but I was
Yeah.
thinking that. So I was like packing bags. Like, we're going to be on, like, what if we can't make it home? You know, we need to have a change of clothes. We need to have, you know, I've got a picnic basket and we need a lot of food, because it's going to be 3 hours,
So
you know,
Chris
like
up the trailer up to the
lots
truck.
of food and activities. So I got to have all these things for the kids to
Yes.
do because, you know,
Yeah.
I want them to have fun and I want it to be memorable. So I way overdid it.
Oh no.
But there was that cool festival in town.
At
Shout out.
Musgrove, right? Yeah.
No,
Oh,
before,
the Saturday.
over the Saturday.
It was great. Yeah,
Shout
it
out
was
to the city of
fantastic.
Olney and the chamber and all those
Yeah.
people. It was such a cool,
Yeah.
fun thing.
I talked to our intrepid mayor a few times there, and you know, he asked like if Tanera would, because my wife does stained glass, if she would, if I think she'd be interested in coming back to another event like that. 'Cause they were talking about we should do more stuff like this. And
We should have more eclipses.
I was like, hell yeah, is what I said, and he's like, can I quote you on that? And I gave him a thumbs up. But yeah, we should have more eclipses for sure. But it was a great
It was great.
festival overall.
I went with
had
my
a great
kids
time,
and my
yeah.
husband, and we
Mhm.
listened to the boat drunks, and
Yeah.
my daughter got her face painted. We
Yeah,
did, you know,
mine
we
too.
got. I ate cookies from, I think, every person who was
Oh, I had
selling a cookie.
Polish sausage
I
at
bought a
that
cookie.
place, the meat sweats.
Oh, one of my
The place.
favorite,
It was so good.
two of my favorite people,
Oh my God.
Lori Whitecamp
Uh-huh.
and Addison Folk were there.
And they both
and
pretty
they-
much sold out.
they
Addison
both
gave us-
sold out.
Addison gave us all the rest of the stuff she had before she
What?
left, so she could go home.
Oh,
it was so
gosh.
good. Oh
That's
my God.
awful. I bought from
Yeah.
Addison and from Lori Whitecamp. They
Yeah.
were both set up, and it was.
Yeah.
I just thought, man,
I didn't buy from them
this-
before. Like Lori, I was like, oh, I'll come back later, and she was just gone. She sold out.
they sold out so
quick.
fast.
Yeah.
I mean, but gosh,
It
her
was a
stuff's
great,
good.
great event. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
good.
fantastic.
I felt like, you know, there was a moment, and I do
Mhm.
get kind of like that sometimes, like you do. Like, I don't want to just kind of get in them, but I just kind of looked around and while I was
Mhm.
sitting there and
Taking
the
it in.
music, and I'm like, God, it's great to live in this town. You
Yeah.
know, like, this is a
Yeah.
great place to be.
Yeah.
It is in this
Stuff like
moment.
that is great.
We're all happy together.
And
we're
I
all
don't need that
getting
every day.
along.
I'm too
No,
old for that.
no, but it was cool.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
neat. It was really well done.
and then, gosh, on the eclipse day, you know, aside from all the anxiety I had
Yeah.
about everything, and I left my dog at home because what if he looked at the sun and then he couldn't see himself anymore, you know, and all this stuff. But I
This
took
would be a
chairs.
fly on the wall of your mind.
Yeah, no, scary place. I wouldn't go. I took chairs and a blanket, and we went to Berryville Vineyards, which is where my husband and I got married.
Yeah.
So it has a special place in my heart for
Mhm.
us.
We had our reception there actually.
Yeah?
After our wedding. So
Yeah, it was just a really cool place. My
Yeah.
kids have been there a million times, you
Mhm.
know. They're not wine connoisseurs, but whatever.
Yeah, that's all
No. And it was a small gathering. Kudos to Christina and Eric because they didn't, you know, like, oh, park your RV for $147,
Yeah,
you know,
they're-
a minute.
and I
You know,
I could see somebody doing that.
Yeah, but
That's nice.
it was a small gathering. They had some music playing.
Cool.
I met a cool guy from Colorado who told me about how he had to emergency land his plane twice in Olney, and so he decided
This would
if
be
when
the
he was
place to
looking
go.
for a place to watch the eclipse, he'd go back to Olney because he
Uh-huh.
had memories of this place and
Really?
the squirrels. Yeah, and it's always about the squirrels.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, some other people that we met that were from far away, you know,
Mhm.
and I just laid down on the blanket, and my kids were flying kites
Uh-huh.
and running by, and my husband was
Oh,
sitting
that's
there with
really
me,
sweet.
and I was just looking up at the eclipse, and I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This moment, eclipse or no eclipse, this is what I always wanted my life to be.
Mhm.
The weather was perfect.
Mhm. Kids are having
Music
fun
in the
and-
background, the kids are playing, my husband and I are there, you know, there's people around. It was perfect. It was
Nice.
a perfect moment. It's great.
Well, I sat there and read Dune while Tanera and Eva sat next to me, and I also had a really bad stomach ache, so that's all I could think about the whole time. But no, it was it was beautiful for me too. It really was.
Yeah, no, it
I-
was cool.
I did like there was a moment during that totality that where this big like hawk flew. I mean, it's like I'm in my front yard looking over my beautiful house that I'm so lucky to have. It doesn't even make sense. I live there, and there's just not the trees and little forest behind my house, and there's this total eclipse of the sun up there, fully total eclipse I can look at without glasses, and then this hawk flies overhead, and I'm just like, what is going on here?
Cool.
It was really neat.
Yeah, I
great
didn't buy any
experience.
plants, so I feel safe.
Oh.
I didn't buy any plants during the eclipse. And
I have missed so many references to Little Shop since that. Like
so
even
many. Get with
I
it.
keep seeing people are like, you posted about bringing your kids to see Little Shop at OCC.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they playing Little Shop? Oh God, of course, the
Total
total
eclipse of the sun. Yeah, shout out to OCC too. That was super fun.
Cool.
Turns out my daughter was terrified of that movie. That was something fun to
Really?
learn while we were there
God,
watching
I
it.
love that movie so much, but there are some brutal scenes in it.
Yeah,
I mean, a guy
well,
getting chopped up
She
with an
had
axe.
watched
like,
it before, but
yeah,
apparently not really
she has more
internalized
understanding
it.
in
Yeah.
context now.
She
Yeah.
was like, I need to go outside for a minute. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. This was silly. But it was fun. I had a great time.
Yeah. Awesome. I really did too, and the festival as to that, I had a great time too.
Yeah,
and it kind of was like like our community matters in a way. It really, there are some stuff that it's not always perfect. We've got a lot of issues like any
Yeah,
other place
for
in the
sure.
world, but stuff like that, all the local vendors selling stuff was
Yeah.
super cool. The pets were awesome. I went back for that,
Yeah.
which is one of our former students, Billy Ginder, is the lead
Absolutely.
singer, and with that band, and actually we have them booked to come on this show and do a couple live
Oh, that's
performances.
fun.
So
Mr.
that'll be
Laughlin's
really fun,
band was
too.
there, a
Yes,
teacher.
that'd be another
a
fun
teacher.
one to do.
Yeah.
I wonder if he
Yeah.
would be interested in doing that at all.
So
But-
it was, it's not always the best place in the world,
No.
but this weekend it felt like it
Yeah.
was.
Everywhere has its issues,
Yeah.
but there is at least something here. There's some support for the arts, and there's some really creative people in our community. And
Yeah, it was
it
great.
was that
Really
was what
enjoyed it.
highlighted
Mhm.
my experience. The community is what highlighted my experience. So I didn't go out in public
Yeah,
for the actual
right.
eclipse, but I hear it was great in town. They cheered at Musgrove,
Yeah.
and I was like, at one
That would have
point,
been a
it
cool
was,
thing,
is
but
that
I just couldn't do it.
gunshots or fireworks? Because during totality, I was here. I was like, somebody's firing a rifle at the
No.
sun. They're very
No,
confused
that didn't
right
happen
now.
where I was because
Oh,
I would
gosh.
have been like, get in the car.
Awesome.
And
Well,
I laid there and it takes a while.
Yeah.
It's not like eclipse and then over.
yeah.
And
it takes
I
quite
said,
a while to get
no,
to it.
we are doing this. I'm going to lay here from the minute it started
Uh-huh.
until the minute it was totally over.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you see my
I know.
face.
You were so, especially
Got
yesterday, you
this
came in, just
nice-
it looked like you had been in a tanning bed.
Yeah.
this time. It was,
But I
you were
wore it on my
cooked.
face like
Yeah.
an emblem of
Yeah,
my dedication to the
yeah,
eclipse.
That was time well had.
It was perfect. It was
Yeah.
a perfect day.
It was a really nice day.
Yeah.
Well, Mandy, thank you so much for talking to
welcome.
me. And to Richland County High School, you do matter, Mandy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much to Mandy Ginder for talking to me for all that time and for helping me get back into the groove of this podcast. Did you like that interview?
Yeah, I thought that was really good. Not that I saw it or anything.
Not that you were here to watch it. We just moments ago did that intro.
Yes.
So we look forward to bringing you more this season. We've got a few interesting things coming up, like a interview with a local band as well as a live performance and a few teachers that are on their way out. And I've got a couple others lined up that are either new or just, hopefully have some interesting stuff to say. We're trying to update the format a bit to instead just be about this is your life as a teacher or administrator here and be more specific about questions and about the kind of things that makes our school matter, what matters at our school, and all those other things. So thank you so much for joining us. I need a new sign out. What's my new sign out? I've been saying, you're welcome. It's so snarky.
It is.
It's so
This is
snarky.
Mr.
And I've
Ryden.
finally, this is Mr. Ryden saying
Peace out. I don't know. It should
bye.
be, I don't know. Do it like a dad joke or something.
Did you just stop it?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just messing around with stuff over there. What's my outro here, guys? Come on. Let's
Uh,
workshop it. What do we got here? I need a regular outro. Bye works just fine. Thank you for joining us. Once
Hey,
again,
guys.
I've been Mr. Ryden and will continue to be while you're not. Unless you're me watching this later. Probably while editing it.
Sure, that'd be a good thing.
That's
to
a
have at,
punchy, right? That's
the
quick.
Very end.
Every time I should say that same thing.
Sure, go
I
for
think
it.
that's what I should do. So, once again, I have been and continue to be Mr. Ryden, and will continue to do so until my heart stops beating or my brain stops functioning. Probably both, actually.
But you are not, unless you are me. Who? Okay, I think I covered most of it, right? All right.
I don't know. The cut at the end will be kind of awkward because
Like-
it's kind of said like, unless you are me.
What about? Hold on here, Andrew. I don't want to get mean with you, but what have I said so far today that would be considered awkward in any circle whatsoever? Any of what I just said was all very mature and on point and concise. I'm sorry for you to all have to witness this if I'm actually even leaving this in at the end. But
It would be fun.
I had to put him. I had to put him in his place, people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was outlandish what he said just then. All right, concise ending. Bye.
I just mean like you said it like you were going to
I
continue
know,
speaking.
I was just being sarcastic, Andrew.
Okay. I can't read sarcasm. I'm really bad at it.
That's okay. I'm awful. But a lot of high schoolers can't quite read sarcasm. I have gotten into trouble by doing that. Like I think I told some on the podcast, but I told some kids, a classroom I went in and somebody's like, I have you in your class next semester. I'm excited. And I was like, oh, you didn't hear? Yeah, they're finally getting rid of me. Whatever. And then I left and I'm like, yeah, that was a funny one, Ryden. The next day, another kid comes up to me. So it had gotten around to some kids. Another kid says, oh, tell me it's not true. You're not out of here, are you? You really got fired? And I was like, ruh-roh, I may have caused myself a little bit of a rumor that is not good to go around about somebody.
Well, there's
Yeah.
definitely something to be said with the overuse of irony to the
Mhm.
point to where you expect the opposite of what
Yeah.
someone says to be true.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it really gets hard to tell because some people use irony just that much.
Or it gets hard to take anything seriously from somebody after a
yeah,
while.
yeah, like Gavin.
Yeah. Or me. I mean, let's be honest.
Eh,
Like I had a
yeah,
feeling
yeah.
you were not reading the sarcasm there. I just couldn't stop myself from still going though. I just had to keep going.
it happens to me all the time.
Until next time, bye, I guess. Our School Matters, with your host, Jeffrey Ryden. Produced by the Richland County VAT Club. Executive produced by Jeffrey Ryden. Multicam video recording operator is Brendan McGlasson. Theme and incidental music composed and performed by The Pets. Research provided by VAT Club members. Our School Matters is hosted by the Voices of Richland County Podcast Network, an RCHS VAT Club affiliate. Please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts, and we may read your comments on our show. You can also contact us at vatclub@rccu1.net. Subscribe to us on your preferred podcast app, or you can see videos of all new episodes starting with Season 2 on the Richland County VAT Club Facebook and YouTube pages.